favorite comedian, Anthony Rogers, live in his tour bus, yeah. But also, you need to get a beard like this. People have been talking. They said your shit looks whack. It looks weird. They can't tell your pronouns. You need to get a beard like this right now. And the only way to do that is by using Luxurious Bastard Beard Oil. Great smell, great function, great everything. Just get this. And there's directions on how to use it if you know how to read. But use the link in the description. Go to the website. Use promo code LEGENDARY. Get a discount. Do it. Thank you. Boom.
I'm Dennis with the Anthony Rogers Show podcast. My question for you is, what would you do if you became president to help the working class?
Well, I think the principal thing right now is housing. That the price of housing is going up, and it's beyond the reach of most American families.
Along with oil and gas and food.
Inflation is hurting everybody. And inflation is more complex. I can't say that I'm going to stop inflation overnight. What I can say is that I'm going to stop the long-term cause of inflation. I'm going to unravel the war machine. I'm going to reduce dramatically healthcare costs by ending the chronic disease.
Welcome back to the best podcast in the universe. If my internet's kind of slow, sorry, I'm in the ghetto using Starlink. We have Nikki Knightley back hosting. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. We got a lot of people on Rumble watching for once. Looks like that's exciting. I'm used to just YouTube and Facebook, but okay, cool. So we have an absolute legend on today.
Oh my God.
Just an awesome band, awesome guitar player. I think he's been in some other punk bands and stuff. No, you're good. But Marko DeSantis from Sugarcult and several other bands, obviously, but that's my favorite ones. How are you doing, brother?
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
Good.
Thanks for going backwards in your career and being here, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's taking me a long time to, attain the status of being on such an esteemed show. So thank you so much.
That's funny, man. Well, no, you're an absolute legend, man. Like your catalog's crazy. You were in like a lot of different bands. You're in a punk band too, right?
Oh man, I've been in so many bands, and I'm comfortable with the fact that legend is really a euphemism for guy that's been around for a really long fucking time, which means he's old. But I'll take it, Hey, I'll take
everybody says that. That's not what I meant.
Old motherfucker any day. Yeah.
No, everybody thinks I mean that. No, I would just call you old, man. I'm blunt, bro. I would be like this geezer, bro. I would literally just be blunt, man. I think you're guitarist.
Hey, man, I'll take it.
Yeah.
You
got some really good guitarists, bro, and I think that if I was talented, I'd be a musician, So I respect all the artists, man.
Well, I don't know, dude. I grew up in a town where you pretty much just got together with your friends and made up songs because it was something to do. It wasn't like anyone was particularly talented. I think we just, if anything, and I'm not just saying this to sound like, oh, it's the guy from the band that you know about, and he's trying to act humble. Like when Taylor Swift acts surprised that she's won her 75,000th award. She's like, what? It's me? You're like, yeah, of course. I'd be way more stoked if she just got up there and was just like, that's right, bitch. Yeah. You think someone else?
Yeah, I knew it.
Of course it's me. Check this out. Whoa, you want this shit? Lana Del Rey? Can't have it. It's mine. And then just walked away. That'd be so rad. But we got to feign the surprise and the whole thing. No, honestly, we just got together and made up songs after school when we were kids. And then you just get so sick of sucking that eventually you kind of get a little bit better. And then your friend gets better than you. And then it's like, you got to keep up or you're going to get kind of excommunicated from the friend group. So then you got to go hard and practice more or whatever. And somehow we kind of I like to say we flunked upwards, you just kind of get better because you get sick of sucking, but no one really, I don't consider myself particularly talented. I'm just really stubborn. And I just stayed in the game for a really long time and, broke.
I refuse to leave.
Twice a day, right?
I hate when people interview and people bring up themselves, but I'm gonna do this just to compare because people will always be like, man, comedy's so hard and it's just talking into a microphone. And then you the way you describe music, I feel the same way I view comedy. I feel like I view my job the same way you view your job, and I hate when hosts do that. But I hate when they self promote through that. But I feel like that I feel like the same thing. It's just that you're just a natural, more or less, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? What would be hard for like other people, I guess, being a rock star is just it just like comes naturally more so, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, you know, it's one of those things like you're either the kid that was kind of a like, you know, unruly show off when you were in kindergarten, or you were the shy kid. And both of those kids end up becoming band members. But the
That's so funny.
one that jumps around and gets yelled at by the teacher is the one that becomes the lead guitar player, or the, you
That's
know,
so
and then the
funny.
one that's the sort of like brooding shy kid maybe becomes the like producer, or becomes the DJ,
Right.
or becomes the drummer. You know, they're
The
like, hey, I want
archetype
to be
of their
part of this band.
personality. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Mhm.
It's all connected. I'm sure, you know, I'm sure all of us are technically in different industries, but I think it's all connected to the same source of
It
just
really
like,
is. It is like all kind of like reflected, like, and it's so funny that you say like as a kid, because I feel like even when we're like in preschool, you could just tell, like you'll look at kids and you're like, you know exactly how they're going to be when they grow up. Like if they're a dick, or like, you know, you're like, that kid's going to be a fucking dick. You know what I mean? Like
oh yeah,
you could
can
just kind
totally
of tell like people's archetype. Like I was always the class clown. I had a teacher once tell me, you should quit school and become a comedian, because I was doing so bad in school, but I was really good at making everybody laugh. I swear to God.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm just like,
humor is such a gift, you know, and I have so much respect for. I mean, actually, like, I'm like starstruck to see you sitting there as a comedian, because honestly, like to me, like anyone could get up on stage with their friends and make a bunch of noise and jump around on stage with you know, and hide behind a bunch of loud guitars, but to get up on stage by yourself and hold a SM58 and stare at a bunch of people who are expecting you to make them laugh. Like it's one thing if you get up, like I've gotten up and talked to people in front of a crowd and like made them laugh. They weren't expecting to laugh, but it's like they're there going like, make me laugh, motherfucker.
okay, entertain me, bitch.
The only thing more intimidating than that would probably be being in a porn.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Porn's not crazy. Porn's the probably
So
the
yeah, I
hardest.
was definitely the kid that was,
especially as a guy, you're like, oh, it's really cold in
No,
here.
dude, guys have it so much
Turn the
worse
heater on.
than girls. Do you have to like
Nikki probably has the
get
hardest job.
hard? Huh?
I said Nikki, you probably have the hardest job out of the three of us. Like the way he views comedy is the way I view music, though. It's like man, I feel like music's way harder to like you have to like write songs. Like I just go up there and like mumble. I'm just like, oh, you know, just mumble and bullshit and stuff. And they're like, oh, here's money, and I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm glad I was broke through my 20s for this, I guess, you know. Like I mean, but I think music you got to write like you gotta like have songs, and your songs are fucking catchy, you know. But then Nikki,
I like how we're having like a my job's easier than your job.
No,
like,
my job's harder.
Yeah, but like seriously, like I've always kind of felt like music, like, and you know, I'm saying this as a musician. It's like we get to like I don't know. There's this great quote from Abraham Lincoln, I guess I heard. It said, if you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. And we get to like sharpen our axe in private, you know, like we can be in a rehearsal space with each other, having giant like blowouts and band arguments, and then practicing, going home and woodshedding. And then we go play a show. But comedians, as I understand it, because one of my really good friends has become he used to be a singer in a band. Now he's become a comedian. This guy named Joe Sib. Brilliant. You should check him out.
Nice.
But it's like, I've learned from watching his journey as a comedian, kind of reinventing himself as a comedian. As I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, you don't really get to rehearse unless you go to like open mic nights or like step on stage for 5 minutes. You have to rehearse in front of people. That's like terrifying.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, no, you're right. You do have to rehearse in front of a bunch. You could rehearse in the mirror, but then it's like, you don't know if it's really funny or if you're just stoned and think it's like the most genius shit you ever came up with. You know, like you're like, it's hard to tell.
Like, you never know who you're gonna talk to. So you write, I'll write a script freaking out. I'm like, oh man, I got like 17 shows coming up. I better like get talented real fast. So I'll like write a script, and then you see the people and they're different. So you're just like, I just bullshit it mostly. But like I had the luxury of practicing in front of nobody forever too, because nobody saw my shows for the first 10 years. So like,
fair enough. So you're in public, but it's still
one drunk guy in the very back of the bar. Like,
I'm like, thank you, mom, for supporting my career, and the bartender. I appreciate it.
I want to thank my mom and dad for making this possible.
But I mean, I think honestly, like in all seriousness, I mean, and the same thing goes for bands. You know, you spend years toiling in obscurity and playing in front of like your, and you're playing in front of your future ex-girlfriends and your roommates and your other friends in bands that you put on the show just because they have a really big band. So there's going to be like 6 people there because the band's going to get there. So like
Right.
you toil in obscurity for a long time, but honestly, or you play the show where like the bartender's there. And like, I feel like that's so necessary in order to get good at what you do, because it kind of breaks you down and then builds you back up again, And I think that like,
sure.
I don't know, I've never been like in the military, but I imagine that's what they do with soldiers. They just like
They
break
do
you
with
down.
their mind.
Yeah. And then they build you
Break
back
them
up again. So that
emotionally and
you're like, I
mentally.
was a guy and now I'm a soldier. It's like I was a person in a band and now and if you can make it through all those like weird little trials that you get thrown at you, then I mean, it's kind of a war of attrition that you have to endure to be able to be a professional entertainer of any kind, I imagine.
Right.
And I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of, and I mean, I wouldn't, as a bougie domesticated cat in a comfortable house now, I wouldn't want to go back there on purpose, but I sure am glad I got to experience that, because then when things turn out okay, you feel like you don't feel like you deserve it, but you at least feel like you worked for it. You feel like you earned it.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
That's awesome. You can relate to that, man. Like not a lot of people can relate to the hustle. That's cool. That like so like say for example, I keep bringing up one of your bands, like Sugarcult. I love that band, by the way. So was it like that for that band too? Like you had to just kind of like put in your time, and like you're playing in front of like a bartender in Seattle and like 300 people the next show and like whatever, so it's kind of like sporadic as well.
I mean, yeah, more or less. I mean, we didn't really tour that much because we couldn't really afford it. It's expensive to go on the road.
Yeah.
So we didn't tour that much before we like had some kind of like for the first 2 years of being a band, we were mostly just a local band. We come from a pretty relatively small city in California called Santa Barbara. And
love Santa Barbara.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I was like, I mean, growing up there, it's like, it's about just under 100 miles away from LA. So, but it's like, it feels like it's 10,000 miles away from LA. Like it's so different than
it's very
reality and just the landscape and the whole thing. Like there isn't really traffic. There aren't really tall buildings. It's not like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel, it feels so different than LA. It's way more chill. Yeah. It's like right between the beach and the mountains. And so for better or for worse, the good thing about it is you can become kind of a big fish in a small pond, because there's not a lot of people competing for the same airspace. If you have like a wild ambition, like I want to be in a band, but I don't know. The other cool thing about it is it's close enough to places like LA that you can go there and like catch a vibe from what's going on down there, and then kind of come home and not be like, because LA is really intimidating. You don't want to just come to LA without developing something first. Once you're in LA, it's like, it's like cutthroat, so it's better to have it like kind of develop it somewhere quiet where you can kind of, like I said,
to break the spirit.
Yeah. And then you come to LA and you kind of go, hey, like, check it out. Look what I can do or whatever. And, but I guess the point I'm making is for the first couple of years, we were just like playing bars, same kind of thing, playing little bars, playing parties. I had played in bands before Sugarcult. I had kind of another life. It's really weird. I kind of was like, really early, like too early to the party. When I was a kid, I was in a band like as a teenager, and we got our shit together and we almost pulled something off. And then we were just too young and the times just kind of changed and we kind of fell apart. But that band ended up, I'm kind of name dropping here, but a couple of the guys in that band ended up going on and eventually having careers too. The guitar player was a guy named Chris, who's now in the band called the Foo Fighters. You guys have heard of? Okay. So he's the guitarist of the Foo Fighters.
I'm just kidding.
And the drummer was a guy named Steve, who went on to be the drummer of a band called Nerf Herder, who were like an amazing band that some people know about. They had a song called Van Halen. They're kind of like a Weezer style band. Really, really great.
Okay.
Anyway, but
awesome.
we kind of just self-destructed because we were too young. Then I started another band in the 90s called Popsico. And it's actually in my little title there. Popsico was like this long lost thing in my past. But then last year we like re-released our one record that we made. And we had all these like all this excitement in the 90s where we were going to get signed and all this stuff happened. But then unfortunately our singer got into some, naughty behavior and eventually, unfortunately died. Like a couple weeks before our record. Yeah. So he got into some hard drugs, and it was like kind of in the air at the time. Knock on wood that I never went down that road, but that was one of those things where I had this weird life way before Sugarcult that no one really knows about, or to be honest, probably even cares about. So I won't be too self-indulgent here, but I like people to know, because anyone else out there who might be listening who is playing music or trying to become any kind of interesting thing with their life, it's like I like to tell those stories because you need to embrace the sort of like, there's sort of like a circuitous, weird back alley hero's journey, unlikely hero's journey that goes on to most people I know, even like, I mean, talking about the Foo Fighters, look at Dave Grohl, he's a great example. He was, he dropped out of high school, joined a band called Scream. The band broke up. He was stranded in Los Angeles. He's from the East Coast. He's a kid with without any money or any prospects. And then he gets, because a guy in Seattle happens to be a fan of Scream and finds out that drummer's available, he calls him up and he ends up in the band Nirvana. It's because Kurt Cobain happened and then Kurt Cobain dies, and you'd think like he would be forgiven to just be like, all right, well, you had your day in the sun. Now just go spend your money and enjoy your life. And he starts another band, switches instruments, and it's the Foo Fighters. So it's like, I'm not trying to say I'm on that plane, but like, it's not uncommon that people have like a weird circuitous route to wherever they end up going off shit. I don't know. So so I was in this band Popsico, and then that fell apart. And then I just kind of tried a bunch of different bands. Then I got into this weird thing where I was like joining people's bands that were already kind of rolling. I got to not big bands, but they were like, maybe they had a tour booked or a record that was coming out on an indie label. So I joined a band called the Ataris that would go on to be a pretty big band eventually.
You were the Ataris too? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Early on, I played bass in the Ataris. Okay. So this was like on the Anywhere But Here era. So if you know about the Ataris, that's like way before anyone knew who they were. Okay. It was like right when they were just starting out. Their singer was like this teenage kind of like tumbleweed that blew out to California from the Midwest. And he just had
tumbleweed.
Yeah, he was kind of this stray. And, he just had literally, I remember when I met him, he had a shitty guitar. It was like a Squier Telecaster. He had like a knockoff amp. It was a Randall, not a Marshall. And like, he had like a backpack, and that was pretty much it. I remember him losing a shoe at a show and then playing the next two shows without a shoe because he didn't have another pair of shoes. He's a character. You should have Chris on the show sometime. He's great. Anyway,
I've had a couple of the Ataris on before. Actually, the Ataris has had a lot of members, but I didn't know you were in there though. I had the kid from Blank Check was in the Ataris for a little. He is right now actually. Brian Bonsall.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with all because you're right. Like the Ataris have had like so many different lineups, but I was probably in like the maybe second lineup. Like the first lineup was Chris and his buddy in back in Indiana, and my buddy Derek, who I grew up with in Santa Barbara.
What's the guy in Indiana? I might know him. The bald guy. Yeah, like shaves his head. What's his name?
Jason, maybe.
No, okay. Different guy from Indiana. He had another guy from Indiana play guitar for him.
Yeah, so I'm talking about like the mid '90s. So this is a long fucking time.
Oh, he was in the 2000s. Okay.
So anyway, so I did that for a while, and then that led to another punk band that needed a kind of a guy who could like jump on real quick and learn the parts, and was good to just jump in the van and go for it. And that was this band called the Swingin' Utters, who you know. They're a great band, Swingin' Utters. One of my favorite punk bands.
Swingin' Utters, that's a great name.
Yeah, they're on Fat Records, and it's really cool. It's almost like they had a record produced by Lars from Rancid, and they had
love Rancid.
They're kind of like the Stiff Little Fingers and the Pogues. They're like, I guess people used to call that genre street punk, because it sort of had that like, British vibe to it. And it's just really cool. Yeah. But anyway, great band. I got to play with them. I got to go on tour in Europe with them, which was like kind of like for me, that was like getting a master's degree in just like punk rock, because just hanging with
Very
those
good.
guys, they had been a band for a long time. So just getting to know them, watching how they operated, you know, getting to tour at that level. I mean, they weren't superstars, but we were like sharing a tour bus with another band that actually, oddly enough, was a band called No Use for a Name. And the guitarist of No Use at the time was my buddy Chris, who I had grown up playing in bands with as a teenager. Chris, would go on to eventually be in the Foo Fighters, right? So he and I are now 10 years after being kids together in a band, we're like now in Europe on tour together in punk bands, going like, what the fuck are we doing?
That's so synchronistic. That's very synchronistic.
Right. Anyway, so after all that, it just like, it was like one thing after another. And then I was just about to kind of hang up my cleats after years of doing it. Cause like I said, I got a head start. I was in my first band when I was like 14. And now it's like, you know, whatever, like 10 years later. And I'm just going like, what the fuck am I going to do? And just around then, I met this dude who was just starting out. These three guys, they were playing a show opening for a great band called Super Drag. They were like the local band. And I went up to them and just said, dude, that was rad. What's up with you guys? And he's like, oh, actually, we're not even really that like serious of a band. This was actually the first time we've ever played a show. We just like go to the community college and we added a, you know, we answered an ad that said needed local band to play a show, you know? And so so I kind of became really good friends with the singer, and would go see them play little bars around town. And I sort of, at that time, I kind of identified as a bass player because I had been playing bass for a pretty long time. I started on guitar, but then I switched to bass at some point. And they already had a bass player. So I was kind of like, it's like you meet someone and you're like, oh, you're kind of hot, but you're already taken. So, you know, I guess we'll just be friends.
Well, that's what happened to me recently.
Yeah. But hey, remember me, don't forget me, in case, you know, it was sort of that kind of a vibe. I was kind of like, you know, I wasn't like putting the moves on, but I was kind of like, dude, if your bass player ever doesn't work out, man, I'm always down to jam. You know, even though I'm kind of done now.
Things don't work out.
Yeah. And then one day he called me up. I mean, it was such a bromance. It's kind of embarrassing to even say. It's like, we were just like it was like having a crush on a girl, because I'd be like on the phone with him for hours. I'd be making him mix CDs. We'd be like comparing stuff that bothered us about things, like, you know, like you've seen those posters that say I love you because we hate the same things. Like, and it was, you know, we were kind of hitting it off, and I'm like, I sort of got this like kind of artistic crush on him. I'm like, fuck, man, I wish I could be in a band with someone like that for a change. Cause you know, I haven't had someone like that in a band with me in a long time. You know, since probably that dude in Popsico that unfortunately died, where we were just like finishing each other's sentences and just hitting it off. And like, we had the same ethic about music and about just life and whatever. And then one day he called me up and he's like, hey, would you ever want to try playing guitar? Because I feel like this band needs to be like a 4-piece. And I was just like, selfishly, I was like, that sounds like fun. Like, it'll give me an excuse to like get better at guitar and jam with these kids. And I started jamming with them, and like, I honestly like zero expectations that anything was ever going to happen, other than it was just going to be something I was just doing kind of in between here and there while I figured out the rest of my life. And then like, next thing you know, like, you know, I get in, start jamming with them, and we just hit it off. You know, it was like the energy was like, it was just different than so many other bands I had been in. Like, these guys were just like, no one was particularly like what you would say talented. No one was particularly a virtuoso by any stretch. We were all sort of just like, you know, bumping up against each other and like trying to somehow accidentally sort of sharpen each other's blades. And like, somehow we like went from sucking really bad to kind of stumbling on, I think it's just like sheer stubborn repetition of like, we would practice like military discipline, like just like, we got to practice for 4 hours. We got to run the set 10 times. We got to record it and go outside and listen to it and take notes and go back in. And if you mess up, you got to do push-ups. Like, it was like gnarly. So like, even though none of us were that good, because we had like an inferiority complex, when we would play shows, we would like overdo it and like be extra, try to be extra good, because we were so like kind of insecure about how inferior we were compared to other bands that were playing around us, that we kind of accidentally did a good job. You know?
We accidentally did a good job.
People started coming to see us.
Don't you love when that happens?
And 2 years later, we got a record deal, and our first big break was we got on the Warped Tour in 2001.
Nice, hell yeah!
And so we were supposed to do it for 10 days, and they ended up, just because we were nice and kind of like minded our manners, and we're not trying to act like prima donnas or rock stars. And the guy Kevin who runs the Warped Tour was like, "Yo, if you guys are cool, if you want to stay on the tour, we'll find somewhere for you guys to play. I'm not making any promises. It's not going to be fancy, but we'll find a patch of grass for you guys to set your shit up on a play for 20 minutes."
Yeah, fuck it. I mean,
and we were just like, let's fucking go. And then we got the Warped Tour, and that was like really like the biggest like catalyst for things that eventually happened for us, because our first record came out at the end of that summer. That was, first record came out in August 2001, and that's the one that had like Bouncing Off the Walls and Stuck in America and Pretty Girl. And then it was just off to the races, and it really just went for like 10, 15 years. Didn't really let up. So it's amazing, because like I was literally like, I kid you not, I was literally like verbalizing that I'm done. I've been doing this for a while, since I was a kid, and I didn't really work out. I got close a few times. It's awesome, but whatever. And then this band happened, and it totally changed like everything, which is crazy.
That's kind of wild. No, you're good. It's kind of crazy. When like, because I've been learning a lot about like the law of attraction, and kind of how like if you're so focused on like wanting something, that if you want it too much, you can actually push it away. But like when you go into something with no expectations and kind of like whatever, like some of the best sets I've done in comedy was like when I just went on and was like, I don't really give a shit. Like, I mean, I did, but I didn't like go into it like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it just sounds like you had a different energy when you got into this band. You were kind of like, well, I'll just do it for fun. Like, didn't put like all this pressure on yourself. Like, I have to make this, like, you know what I mean? Like, Nikki, and I've just noticed that in my life where it will just manifest, and you're like, holy shit. Dude, like,
you are speaking my language. That is so like, I'm so on board with that. And I've, just so many times, when you stick around for a while, you have more time, kind of like, what do they call it? Like in science, when you're doing experiments, you have more like every time you do an experiment. No. It's like collecting data. You're like collecting examples.
Variations or something.
There's a word. I'm looking, someone in the chat. Come on, throw it in. There's someone who's smarter than me. Like, when you get the, you just, anyway, enough times you do it and you seem like, this is the result I get when I do it this way. This result I get when I do it that way. And there's the law of attraction. You start to really be able to craft like your art. Like if you literally take magnets, what happens when you like flip them around, and it pushes the other magnet away, right?
Yeah,
like how like bullet trains run. It's like magnets on tracks. I think that's and if you flip it around, it's like it sticks together. So it's like I guess what happens is like if you're, I guess, long story short, I think if you're quote unquote trying too hard, you push away exactly what you're trying to get. Whether
but it's so
like
true. Even with just like if you see someone trying too hard in general, you're just like, like you're just like, stop, bro.
I don't think anyone ever got laid because they went out and tried to get laid.
Exactly.
You don't get laid, or you get laid by the wrong kind of person that fucks up your whole life because you were so attracted to the outcome and not the So it's like if you just be yourself and you're just authentic, rad shit is going to be attracted to you rather than you chasing.
It's like you're literally vibrating like the highest frequency you can vibrate is like when you're authentic. Like authenticity is like one of the most high vibrational, energetic like frequencies to resonate at.
I think so. And I think
so that's probably what it is.
When I compare notes with like other people I know in bands, when you kind of talk about your origin story, you're just like, wow, this is almost like, it's almost a cliche at this point. And that's not to say don't work hard, don't hone your craft, don't do all that stuff and just sit back and go, I don't know, I'm just being authentic, dude. How come, when am I going to win my Grammy? Like, you obviously have to like show up and do the damn thing, but just don't be so fucking thirsty, don't be just so like, dude, what do I got to do to make it? How do I got to wear my hair? Who do I have to sing about? What do I have to, say on stage? Like, people can just tell, man. It's like you give off a pheromone. I always use the example.
Energy. It's an energy they're putting out.
Do you remember when you guys, like when you were a kid and you tried to buy alcohol? And
Oh
Oh,
you
yeah,
yeah,
get
and
Mr.
you go in there all
you're like,
nervous and shit.
oh yeah, you had it all worked out in your head.
They
Like if they
know, like
asked me my
immediately.
birthday, I've already counted back 21 years and I knew exactly what to say. And you just give off this energy and they're like, get the fuck out of here. And I remember
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
turned 21, I was all stoked. I was like, I finally get to go buy a 12 pack and check it out. I got my ID already. And when the guy asked me for my ID, I'm just going to be all, here, bitch, check it out. You
And he
know?
probably
And
didn't
they're
even
like,
ask you, huh?
yeah, they're like, so did you find everything you needed? And you're like, yeah, especially this 12 pack. Don't you want to check my ID for it? And they're like, enjoy your 12 pack, bro. You know, because you're
Like,
just
dude,
not giving off
it's
that
funny you
energy.
say that.
You know?
he's like, are you hitting
No,
on me? Like, what do you want?
I know. Yeah. It's like, dude, yeah.
no, it's funny you said that. I had like
Yeah, I'm not going
sideburns
home
at
with
16. I was like buying alcohol and cigarettes at like 15, 16. I had like giant sideburns. And you're right, dude. I never had a plan. I just went in there and just did it. Like the way you went in 21, I just did it. I was just like, oh yeah, let's I just acted like I already deserved it.
That's great.
That's
I mean,
most like
it can get you places. It's not always going to work, but I've gotten into concerts for free just by like, you know, you look at like you go in through like the floating
Yeah.
entrance,
You're like,
and you see the person
you
working
just
there,
have to
you're
play
like,
like you belong there.
yeah,
You know what I
just act
mean?
like
It's the
you belong there.
energy. You belong there.
And you
You
just
know?
walk in, you look at the guy who's working the door, and you're like, dude, long day, right? Like fist bump, bro.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta get back in there.
What's up,
The fucking
dude?
guys from the place just asking me
Yeah.
about this thing again. You know, it's just fucking, you know. And then next thing you know, you're in. You know?
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, especially after seeing how it works, too, like now that I'm older, like a lot of my buddies are in bands and stuff, and I see how easy it is just to like get in there and pretend like you're already there, you know? Like,
Dude, my
like,
buddy I was telling you about, my buddy who's a comedian, that guy Joseph, he has the best one ever. He just goes for this. He's like, you know, he's probably a few years older, but like he goes up to like, because he's actually he has a record company called Side One. He's like pretty successful in the music business too. But his best move is like he'll go to like the backstage to get in, and the dude will be like, you got your pass, and he'll be like, oh fucking, and he'll just look at the guy and he'll be like, dude, do I look like I want to be here?
Oh my God.
Like not
That's
just work.
so
I have
funny.
to be here for my job. Like my band that I'm working with is back there right now. And
Oh my
like,
God,
I
that's
want to
weird.
be here. Like I'm not like some kid trying to get their autograph, and they're usually like, "All right, whatever, dude." Just
You're like, he's like, I don't even like this band.
I know, yeah, dude. I don't even want it, honestly, dude. If I had my way, I'd be at home, like watching, you know, Netflix or something. But you know, I got to be here.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
That's
That's
how
so
I actually
funny.
feel now, though. Too. I mean, like I remember being a kid, and like just being like, man, I would have like begged to be where I'm at 19, you know. But like, hey man, like let's call this guy's in Sugarcult. I'm gonna ask him 25,000 fucking times to be on the show, you know. And like, I'm gonna give him all this information. I'm gonna give him like 16 paragraphs. But hey, dude, oh, you might really you might be so fucking nervous and all that shit. And it's just like it just feels natural now, man. It's weird. And
Yeah.
like I'm like almost 40 though, you know. It's like. I think that's the difference. Like when I was like 19, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say.
You're just like, you stop giving a shit. You're like, this really, it's like what's the
I still
word? Like
care. I'm not, like, desperate.
the feeling
It's
you get when
like-
something's new and exciting, it just kind of goes away. It's like being in a relationship and you're just like, ugh, whatever. Like, you're not having crazy sex anymore. You're just like, yeah, just flip me over. Let's do it. Like, whatever. You know, like you just don't give a shit anymore.
I still care.
You
but
still
I'm
love
not,
the
like, desperate,
person,
I feel like,
but
you know,
like,
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't work at a gas station. I couldn't do anything. No disrespect
no.
to anybody else. I just
I don't know,
fucking couldn't.
honestly, that kind of shit makes me want to blow my brains out.
That's
It's
how I
gonna be
feel.
real.
But God,
Like,
but God bless the
Yeah.
people that do it, because like I
No
wouldn't be
way.
able to gas without them. But I'm just saying, you know, I'm just saying that's a real job. This isn't, you know. But I feel like I couldn't do anything else though. I literally couldn't. I'd be bored as fuck, and like, you know, it's like I couldn't do anything
Yeah.
else. Like
But I think that's one of the cool things about, like, I don't know, for better or for worse, you know, social media. It's you know, it's a blessing and a curse in a lot of ways. But I think one of the cool things about it is it does kind of take the cape off the superhero, and you're able to see a lot of people that you would normally be like, oh my God, they're just this like, you know, perfect celebrity that always has a publicist and always has everything perfect. And you get to sort of, it's like a weird little opportunity where you can just like, you know, jump on
that's
like,
what podcasts are.
you
That's how I
know,
feel
like.
about podcasts.
and you see that they're just people, like
You just
all
jump on
celebrities
Instagram
from
and be like, hey,
all.
this person's just a person, you know? And I mean,
Yeah,
for better or
just a
for worse,
person. Yeah, exactly.
when I was a kid growing up, part of what attracted me to, like, you know, the whole rock and roll thing was that it seemed so much larger than life, you know, like
Yeah.
you thought the guys in, you know, Motley Crue looked like superheroes or something like that. And it's like, now you can jump on Instagram and you'll see like Nikki Sixx wearing flip flops, hanging out with his kid, you know, like fishing. And you're like, what? I don't want to believe that he is ever not like wearing like stiletto boots and like, you know, burning shit on stage or whatever, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
in a weird way, it's actually is kind of cool because I mean, while the mystique of like things being kind of larger than life is really fun, it also kind of just like, yeah, it kind of breaks that fourth wall where like literally like you just DM'd me on, I mean, that's how this shit happened. This guy DM'd me on Instagram and I was like, he's like, hey, dude, you want to jump on a podcast? And I was like, what day? Sounds like fun. Let's go. And it was like, we figured out a day. We like talked like last week, you know?
That's what I was trying to say. Like when I was 19, you'd have had a desperate ass paragraph, bro. You'd have been like, I'd be like, hey man, I love everything you've ever done, bro. Like all your bands are so fucking cool. I'm like, hey dude, want to do a podcast?
I know. And I would have been like getting our tour manager like, hey, could you get this fucking kid away from me?
No, you're right. Yeah. That's the energy of it, bro. No, you're right. That's the energy of it. And like,
but no, I mean, honestly, like
it is, though.
I was always, even like before there was like, you know, before podcasts became as big as they are now, and before you could just DM people on Instagram, you know, back in the day when we toured, like once in a while, it'd just be some random person that would somehow get the word to us, like, hey, these kids that are in high school want to like interview you for something. I'd always be like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Like, I don't care. We're sitting around on our bus most of the time anyway. Being in a band is a lot of hurry up and wait. You know,
you're the same job as a comedian. I don't have
any industry that's entertainment. I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah,
it's hurry up and wait. You're like, oh, we got to be there too. We got to be there too. We got to be. Then you get there too, and they're like, yeah, the guy's not going to be here till 4.
You're right.
Like,
right.
oh yeah,
we went through to get here too. You know,
my buddy Sean's in Smile Empty Soul now, and I'll go with them sometimes. Yeah, like bands, they have to like be there so much earlier than I do. Well, like when I smoked weed, I would just sit in my car and like smoke weed for like hours before this. You know what I mean? I would just like sit there and play like video games and smoke weed on the bus and stuff. And now it's like you guys have to be there earlier than me. Like the comedian, they're like, oh, you're here? Oh, that's good. Oh, you showed up? That's great. You know?
The band has to do like sound check and all this other fucking bullshit, right? Like they got to do so much more shit.
Load
they set up equipment like 4
check.
hours or like out. They set up equipment like hours earlier. I mean, I don't know how your situation is, but my buddies' bands are like they're like they're 8 hours earlier. I'm making up numbers. I don't know. I'm straight up making up numbers.
No,
like all days.
Maybe not 8 hours, but not too far off. Like I can easily remember, like, you know, touring, like common time for load in would be like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So that's the time you like pull up the bus and they're like, your crew takes out all the gear and rolls it into the venue and sets it all up. And then maybe an hour later you have sound check. So you're going to like run through a couple songs, check, make sure everything's going to work. And then it's like, okay, well now the next band, you know, if you're the headlining band, you sound check first. And then the other bands that, you know, the band that plays right before you would sound check next. And then the band that's going to go on first sound checks next, and then just leaves their gear on stage because that way it's just ready for them when the show starts. But that's a lot of time. And then you get doors. And when the doors open, that's when sound check has to be done. So doors usually open an hour before the show starts. So you got like 7 o'clock doors. The first band goes on at 8. The second band goes on at 9. You're going on maybe at 10. So you have been there for like 8 hours.
That's
and you
great.
like,
wow.
You know, but I mean, you know, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, that's why a lot of people get into drugs and stuff, because they're just like, what am I going to do with all my time?
Bored. That's what I was going to say. Like, that makes total sense. So
I mean, what I would do is you know, I loved like jumping on public transportation. Like if we were somewhere, like I never want to just like lurk backstage or go like hang on a tour bus and watch TV. I would always just be like, you know, like, hey, we're in like England. I'd go find someone working at the venue and be like, yo, dude, are you going to get yelled at by your boss if you take me somewhere? Can you just like say I have to take the guy from the band somewhere? And he'd be like, hey, mate, let me ask my boss. And next thing you know, I'd have like this dude just cruising me around like Nottingham, going like, you want to go to a pub and showing me cool, like, you want to see a castle? And like, you know, you just
do you want to see a castle? Oh my god.
Or like, you know, you're in Paris, you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna get on the train and just go get lost for a couple hours and then find my way back. And in that process, something cool is gonna happen, and also time's gonna pass. You know,
no, exactly.
A lot of people tour and don't actually do anything. They just like, their whole life is just like sit there, play a video game in the back lounge of their bus, play a show, and like you can go all over the world, but never leave your house in a really weird way,
Sure,
unless you
yeah.
make an effort.
Yeah.
I was like that, dude. I was like that for a while, man. Now I'm like, I look forward to the food mostly, man. Like,
Oh
like
yeah.
just trying to all these new restaurants and stuff. But somebody's asking in the comments, they go, what do you look forward to on the road? I guess is what they're saying.
Oh yeah. I look forward to exactly what he's talking about.
Oh.
Like total foodie, love going and checking out, finding good places to eat.
That's the best part.
You know, usually go find just kind of intuitively, we'll go like sniff out the cool little like independent coffee shop. And then maybe if it's good, I'll buy like a bag of it to bring home. I always like functional souvenirs, like something that you get to like bring home and like use, like coffee, or like, you know, if you're in the South, you find like some rad place for barbecue and then you buy their sauce and bring it home. And then it's like at the end of the tour, you're like, oh, now this reminds me of that rad place and those people we hung out with in wherever it was, instead of just like having a bunch of shit to put on a shelf. You know, you got like stuff.
Where's the best barbecue at? Where's the best barbecue you had on the road?
Oh my God, dude, you're putting me on the spot here.
Wait, before you answer, I have to log off early today because I'm going to my friend's like surprise birthday and I have to get there at a certain time. So
Oh shit! I have to log off
wanted to say
somewhat
goodbye
early
really quick
too.
before I left.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I have to go somewhat early too. Like I probably have to go in like 25 minutes. Is that
That's
cool?
about, yeah, it's about when he's wrong,
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thank
whenever
you so
you want
much,
to, man. You're
Marco, for
good.
coming on. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Dude, yeah, tell your friend
So-
Nick. I appreciate you coming back.
It was nice to meet you
Yeah,
guys.
I'll be
Where do
on.
you guys
I'll
all
be back on
live?
tomorrow. Huh?
Where are you guys all like in real life? Where are you in the world?
I'm in Hollywood.
I'm
Oh,
in
okay.
St. Louis.
Cool. Wait, where are you from, Anthony?
I'm in St. Louis.
You're in St. Louis. Okay, cool. Well, maybe
bus is
Nikki,
parked
maybe I'll
outside of
see you
3 a.m. bar
around
right
because
now.
I'm in LA too. Anthony,
yeah.
probably won't see you. Yeah, but yeah, if you're out in
I
LA,
added you on
hit me up.
social media. I
Yeah,
shared
yeah, yeah.
our thing. So yeah, just follow
Yay.
me. Okay.
All right, we can be friendsters. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, I'm outside of 3 a.m. bar right now in St. Louis. That's where I'm parked. I'm in a bus right now.
St.
It's a fake
Louis,
background.
man.
Fake background.
Is the I remember a long time ago, and when we first played St. Louis, we played a place called the Creepy Crawl. Does that still exist?
No, but that was a legendary venue, bro. That was like that was a good spot, man. A lot of great bands came in there, man. Like
That was a rad spot. And I remember like trying to
Love it.
like run somewhere and like find a place to do laundry. That's like the thing you don't think about is when you're watching touring bands is like, where do they actually do their laundry? Because most of those venues don't have laundry machines, and most of the hotels you stay at, so it's like you're constantly on this quest to find a place to do laundry. And I think we were looking for a place to do laundry in the club. The people at the club were like, you don't want to walk around this neighborhood, man. You don't want to go, you know.
No, people are terrified of this area. People are terrified. I have a washer dryer in one unit, man, on my bus. Like I had to do that because like, but I mean, I'll still use coin laundry sometimes if I have like too much to wash. But
dude, you have a washer dryer in your bus? Oh my god, dude!
Right next to me. Here, I'll ruin the illusion. I'll take the background off, ruin the illusion. Hang on.
Wow, I have bus envy.
I turned a school bus into like an RV, so it's all bullshit. It's all like, hang on. Oh shit,
dude, that is so rad.
That's the washer dryer. What the? Oh man, my camera went off, bro. Hang on.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
What a fake tease. Hang on.
That's so cool. That's such a great idea.
Well, it was
how do you like hook it up to plumbing somewhere? Like, how do you hook it up to a hose? Like, what do you do?
This is if I keep turning my camera, it may mess it up. This is the washer dryer in one unit right here. There's a tray on top of it,
but how does it get enough water to like?
We have gallons of water underneath the bus and stuff. Like it has plenty. We have well water for drinking, and then we got like whatever water we get for like washing stuff. You know.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, we made it. Yeah, I made it custom because I didn't want to deal. I mean, one, it's more affordable, and two, it's just like I mean, you can just build it how you want. I'm literally sitting on a king size bed right now. I mean, just like in the back of the bus right now. You know, with the.
Dude, that's so cool.
Dude, yeah, no, I absolutely. We had the same job basically, except for you sold records and made way more money probably, and and you have to be, like I said, you have to be talented. But I mean, it's the same. Comedy's the same exact job. Like, to be honest, man. Like a lot of my buddies are like well, not a lot of my buddy Sean's in Smile Empty Soul, and he's like, and I'll kind of watch what they do, and he kind of taught me how to tour. Really, I feel like because he was touring since he was 21. I had none of that going on until I was like 28, 30, somewhere in there.
That's cool.
So he taught me all that stuff, and I see what you guys do, and like if it's anything like that, I mean, most bands are pretty similar, I guess, like as far as like the business plan. But it's like, yeah, it's basically the same exact job, bro. It's just like,
well, one of the things I've been doing a lot more, because we don't really, we're not very active anymore these days. But like one of the things I've been doing a lot, which is kind of crazy, is like I've been getting a lot of I mean, I do a lot of these like guest speaking engagements and stuff, but I do a lot of like DJ gigs, and not like, you know, I'm doing DJing someone's wedding, but like I'll go and be like the guy from Sugarcult doing a big party. They have these things called emo night. I'll do a lot of those, and it's super fun. But I kind of get a little bit of like I said, because one of my good friends is a comedian. I sort of feel like, oh, this must be sort of more of what it's like, because it's just you. Whereas you're in the band, it's like you and all your you know, bandmates and your crew like cruising along, and it's like this big entourage wherever you go, right? But there's something about just like, I mean, and honestly, sometimes I'm like, I could really get used to this. It's kind of nice to just be like, you know, in your own little mission. You don't have to, you know, I can travel pretty light. I can drive myself places, or I can fly somewhere, and you know, it's actually pretty cool. I kind of enjoy it.
It's both, bro. So like I could do like the one person thing, or like I'll take the bus and then like bring my wife, and she'll like, my wife will like drive. My wife usually drives the bus, man, honestly.
Oh, that's cool.
Like I quit smoking weed a month ago, so I'm like figuring out touring again. But I would just literally just chain smoke weed and stare at the mountains and stuff, like while my wife was like driving, and then you bring like openers with you and stuff. I mean, there's cool. A lot of the camaraderie if you want that. If you want the camaraderie, it's there, and if you don't want it, it's there too. Like you said, I'm flying to Fort Lauderdale this weekend, so I mean, I could basically, I could not be with people, or I could be with. It's like both. You know, you're not stuck with the four guys that you wrote all your songs with, but you can have them if you want them. You know, that's almost how it feels with an opener. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that dude I keep talking about, Joe, he tours a lot with Jim Brewer. And I think when they tour together, they do that. Yeah.
I had Brewer on the show. Like, guy's a legend, man. I love that guy.
Yeah. And like they'll go together, you know, like they'll be in like a SUV and just cruise around together, and have like one person that comes along to sell merch, and maybe another person to just sort of tour manage or whatever. And like, it's just, you know, I guess you're right. It's like it has somewhat of a feeling of a band, because you're just like a group of people going out there together. But
if you want that, you got that. Yeah, no, sometimes I'll tour some people, and I love that. I love that feeling too. I mean, it's like, I hate driving, so I mean, I'll pretty much ride with anybody, you know. And like, I like talking, obviously, it's what the podcast is, but it's the same thing. Yeah, any of the openers and stuff. Yeah, I'll just hang out with them, and like, or whoever else, you know, like Brewer's a legend. Your buddy's who's your friend again that's doing shows with him?
His name is Joe Sib. Last name is S-I-B.
He's pretty close with Brewer. I hear Brewer talk about him, right?
Yeah, they've toured together a lot. They got to do a really cool thing a couple years ago. They got to tour like opening for Metallica, which I thought was really smart. Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, I think comedy and rock and roll have really kind of like, you know, kind of merged at this point, where like, you know, there's a lot of, I mean, I thought it was really smart with Metallica. It's like, no one's going to open for Metallica. I mean, I saw Metallica recently, and Pantera opened, and that was cool, because they're like kind of a legendary band, but like, no new band is going to open for Metallica and not just be the soundtrack to someone waiting in line to buy some nachos and a beer.
Dude,
you know?
That's right. That's why I try to tell my buddy all the time. Like no one wants to hear these bad openers. They want to hear. Like as you understand the customer aspect. A lot of band members don't understand that. But yeah, no, I'll like watch bands, and they'll have like four bands the promoter book that just like, I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick. Maybe they'll do something, but just suck, bro. And I'm like, what are these guys doing? They don't pull anybody. They don't sound good. I'm like, what? This is terrible business, you know. But here's the thing. They could blow up tomorrow. I mean, you know what I mean? They could get bigger than everybody.
Cool. Yeah, which is cool. But it's also like, you know, you want to give people, and especially if you're, I mean, I guess it's different depending on what stage of your career. But I imagine the guys in Metallica, because they've been around for so long, and their fans are like multi-generational. You know, you probably have like 3 generations, people bringing their you know, their kids and their grandkids to the show, and like, you know, so it's like, the idea of making it like, hey, come to the show, and then you're going to have these fun guys that are sort of like goofing off and working the stage and like working the crowd, getting everyone laughing, getting everyone loose while everyone's kind of sliding into some drinks. And then you bring out the band, you know, the headlining band. It's like the idea of having Brewer and
only
Joe.
A guy like Brewer can pull it off.
Yeah, it's like, that's a good idea. Dude. You know, like I love the idea of that. I like the idea of a variety show. And, you know, like one of my favorite bands of all time is The Clash. And like, I'm too young to have seen them in their day, but like, you know, I've, you know, kind of studied them a lot. And one of the things I thought was super cool was they would have like, you know, Muddy Waters open for them, you know, and they're like this band that's like blowing up in the punk era, but they would find some old American blues guy to open for them. And then they would have like a Jamaican DJ, or like they would have Don Letts, who's a Jamaican guy who grew up in England, and like have him or Mickey Dredd like do a DJ set of reggae music. at their show. So like they were like educating their fans and making it kind of cool. Cause otherwise you might think like, I like the Clash, I like punk rock. I don't like that. But then when the Clash goes, hey, here's who's opening for us, it's a reggae DJ. Now you sort of, it kind of gives you permission to like dig into reggae. You know, I learned so much about like other styles of music because of bands that I admired. And then I would learn they would talk about some band and then you would learn about that band from that. You know, it's really like, it seems like I think a lot of entertainers maybe underestimate the intelligence of their fans. And they think like, oh, well, our fans would only like something that sounds just like us. And it's like, no, don't insult people's intelligence. Your fans want a whole experience. They want to come to a show and feel like they had like, they had like an appetizer, they had, a salad, they had the main course, and they had dessert. Like give them a full, course experience. Don't just give them like 10 fucking cheeseburgers. You know what I mean?
Dude, the fans are smarter than us, bro. I mean, that's how I feel. I think we're lucky. I mean, to be able to tour and stuff or whatever else, I think we're lucky to be entertainment. These fans are way smarter than us. I feel like that. and like, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but you're really on point for a musician too. Because like a lot of these musicians are like, I mean, about as dumb as I am, But you seem pretty smart, Like I think like, I feel like we don't do much, man. Like as entertainers, we don't really do much. I mean, that's the secret, I guess. But I mean, I'm just saying it's kind of a hustle where you don't have to do much. You do in the beginning, I guess. But I mean, I feel like the fans probably put in way more blood, sweat, and tears, and like care more about things, and like probably provide a service to reality more so than us. If you work at a grocery store, you're doing way more than us. I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's totally valid. But I will say, and I know this sounds like so fucking like cliche, but honestly, I still think of myself as a fan. The only reason I ever started playing music was because I was such a fan that like I wanted to get inside it. I still am like, and I'm not unusual. I'm not weird. Like so many people I know in other bands, we sit there talking about like other bands we love, and we're turning each other on, like constantly like texting each other, dude, you got to check out this song. Dude, if you check this out, or seeing another band and buying their shirt or whatever. Like, I think that awesome. Especially with rock and roll, like all the, genres associated with rock and roll, whether it's like punk rock or metal or, emo or whatever you want to, call it. It's all the same pizza with just different toppings. But like, it's like, I think it's primarily made up of fans, or at least in my experience, it's made up of fans. You're just like, dude, I love this shit so much that I want to do it myself,
That's
and like,
point, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, I relate to our fans because I am them, I'm just,
you seem like that
version of them.
A lot of the guys, I'm not trying to trash people, but a lot of these guys don't have your energy, man. You have really good energy, and like you seem self-aware and stuff, man. A lot of these guys, like they get in their head and they think they like everybody thinks you're so important. That like I have that happen a lot. I feel like all these guys just think they're so important, and like I have to remember I'm not. And like I mean, we all are in a way. We're all unique souls or whatever, but like we're not like special. Then we have to remember that.
Yeah, we have to know that. We're just super. I mean, yeah, maybe we worked at it, but I mean, no one's entitled to become a successsul person in the entertainment business. No one's entitled to it. There's so many great. I mean, in my hometown alone, in Santa Barbara alone, I could just count right now like 10 other people that I would have bet on being successful, because they're so goddamn talented. Before me, so there's a certain amount of dumb luck and lottery involved in it. And also, like I said, just stubborn will to just stay in the game. And so it's not one of those like meritocracies where like you got it because you're so great. I mean, maybe in some cases there's Miles Davis and, there's some people out there who are really fucking great, but like,
I think you nailed it when you said they didn't give up, man. Because like, I think that's the difference between. I think it's the difference between me and a lot of guys. Like a lot of guys are way funnier than me, man. Like my parents are way funnier than me. Like, I mean, my dad will be like, he'll be like, I'm funnier than you. I'm like, I know. I'm like funny for like 30 minutes, dude. Like I'm not even really funny. It's like a lot of these guys are way more talented. I think it's the ambition. I think you have to work to be in your situation. You have to work hard, and your riffs are killer, bro. I mean, you have really catchy riffs, man. I think, dude, and like a lot of those songs are just super. I mean, just appealing to the ear. I mean, in your situation, but I think like it's not quitting. It's like just going at your dreams, not quitting. I mean, I would have never settled, you know, and that's just kind of where I'm at. I'm maybe a subpar talent guy, but I just won't stop, bro. That's my main thing.
Well, it's also like you were talking about being into food, and I'm like, I love food so much. So it's like, because I love food so much, because I love eating, you know, at restaurants, I learned how to cook too, because it's like the same thing. It's like, there's this part of me that's like, if I love something, I want to learn how to do it too. You know, I don't just want to be like a spectator watching someone else do it. I want to get inside it and do it. So you just I think it's just about having like a curious nature and just going like, okay, I want to figure out how to do this. And then, oh, whoops, I fucked that up. Now, how do I make it better the next time? And you sort of, you know, you get a little better at it. And also there's this thing, I can't remember who I heard say this, but I love this, the idea of that limitation can be a virtue. So it's like, I learned, you know, learn how to play, like, if you learn how to make certain like Italian food, it's like really simple ingredients. And someone will be like, oh my God, that's amazing. What'd you just make? And you're like, dude, it's just, it's about quality over quantity. It's not because you put a lot of stuff in it. It's because you know what to leave out and what good quality to put in, and not how to not overcook the garlic or over salt something. It's about learning the taste of it all. And I think that's the secret with making good music is to be kind of economical about it. And like you said, you love the riffs. It's like, my riffs aren't my riffs because I could play anything under the sun. They're my riffs because I am pretty like limited with my abilities of what I couldn't shred if I tried. So I'm going to choose things that are, you know, that sound cool, but are relatively easy to play after a couple beers with my guitar slung down by my knees like Joan Jett. Because I'd rather be able to have fun on stage and play a rad rock show and be able to pull the parts off than have to like sit down with my legs crossed and be some like virtuoso. You know, it's just not me. It's not who I am.
You feel that energy. No, you feel that energy in your songs, man. Yeah, I definitely feel that energy. Like it's really.
And then people like it. People like it because it's like, it's not overcrowded with too much shit. Just the same way people like pizza, you know, because it's just dude, it's just good, you know.
Yeah. Well, dude, hey, I won't talk you off. I think you got stuff to do, but if you want to throw out your before any links or anything, throw out your favorite barbecue. Let's get back to that.
Dude,
as a fellow traveler, I want to know where your favorite barbecue is.
I don't think I want to step into the ring of barbecue because you know what I mean? It's like Chicago pizza, like you just, or like New York or Philadelphia cheesesteaks. Like you're going to do more harm than good once you step into the ring. Cause as soon as you say you like, you know, Tony Luke's, then Jim's and all the people who like the other place are going to come at you, or Pat's are going to come, you know? So I don't know. I think
not the place.
What in general, I've had really good barbecue. You usually have to, and I think the same goes for music. You know, you're probably not going to find the raddest music ever if you just listen to the mainstream radio or you just listen to whatever's, you know, on the top of the charts. Not that music's bad. It's just that if you want to find the sort of less predictable, more nuanced, more spicy, more homemade feeling music, you're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to kind of drive 45 minutes away from the city center and find the little place that's only open 2 days a week. You know, that's where you find the good shit, you know, there's only one of them and it's run by like, you know, a husband and a wife or something like that. Just like with music, I think you find the coolest shit when you're just like looking at independent labels or things that were like, are out of print. You know, you find stuff. If you're willing to put in the work, you can find some really fun stuff. And I just enjoy the process of like, I think it's just like the hunter gatherer in us. Like I enjoy the thrill of the chase. Like I'm trying to find something and then you look for it and then you find it and then you get there and then you're so excited and then you have it. And if it's good, all the better. But even if it sucks, you're still like, well, it was still kind of a fun adventure, you know. With barbecue, I think it's kind of like that. Like you can go to like, what's that?
You need to run for office the way you sidestep that, bro.
Oh, do you like that? Yeah. Did I politician my way out of the barbecue question? Nice.
Like, I love barbecue. A lot of good people love barbecue. You
Barbecue's great. Yeah, we love barbecue. All kinds of, especially, you know, there's a really great vegan barbecue place that I love too. So, you know, you vegans out there, I'm good with you too. It's all great. Yeah. Dude, I just
Marko DeSantis for president right now. Vote him for president right now.
Yeah. Write me in. This is how you spell my name. It's spelled, let's see. It's spelled, I'm trying to think of what do you say? Not undeclared, but what's her name saying to write in Michigan right now? Rashida Tlaib, was she saying to write in not undecided, but oh fuck, it was like just in the news earlier, and I'm already forgetting.
Well, it's hard for me to follow that divisive stuff, man. It's like I got into it for
nothing divisive, but just like write in, just write in that, write in Marko DeSantis. Fuck it, I'll be president. No way. It's like I sometimes when I think about that kind of stuff, I go, God, who would ever want to be that? It seems like such a pain in the ass. Like,
Dude, what a chore. Yeah, especially right now, man. Like, I would just write no. If you all write no, can we just not have a president for 4 years?
I know. Let's just write no. Let's just write none of the above.
Can we just veto president for 4 years and just see how it goes?
I really think that would be a good idea. It would be just do the reset. Just go for it. Just none of the above.
Yeah, I can't do it anymore. I can't watch people argue with their grandma about politics anymore, homie. I just can't do it.
God, I can't. Yeah, I can't. I'm so exhausted with politics. I'm just a human being, and I just feel like, I know it sounds really hippy dippy, but like I just think we need to start getting away from all the things that divide people, and just realize that like all you got to do is DM some random stranger on Instagram and ask him to come on your podcast, and we can talk and hang out and have a great time. And like you celebrate the things we have in common and the funny things and absurd things about life, instead of just drilling down and doubling down on all the things that might, I mean, come on. It's just how self-important can people be when you think your view is the view that everyone else? It's like, fucking just be cool.
Yeah, they gotta block everybody that disagrees with you. I'm like, oh my God, are we over this? Can we just hang out? It's like, oh my God,
it's not hard to be cool. Then maybe you got to do some soul searching.
I fell into it for a little bit. I'm acting like I'm above it, man. I fell into it for a little bit, but I'm just like, man, I can't even talk about that. I can't even deal with that anymore. I'm like, man, I just want to have fun. I'm just trying to get rich, dude. I'm trying to be a millionaire and trying to get a ranch. I don't care about anything else. I mean, obviously, I care about your like.
How do you become a millionaire and get a ranch? Have you figured that out? Have you cracked that code yet?
No, I'm still in a bus, bro. No, I haven't figured out. I'm still in the tour bus, figured it out. But no, I think that's that's the goal though. I think for me, it's like I'm trying to cash out and shave, and nobody knows what I look like.
And that's why you got the sunglasses on and the beard. I love it. Yeah, that's cool.
No real pictures on the internet, right? Once you shave, nobody recognizes me. That's my way out.
Man.
Cash that check them out, But no, dude, okay. I'll talk to you for 9 more hours, but I'll shut up right now. Thank you very much for jumping on the show. You're an absolute legend. This is going backwards in your career, like I said in the beginning. I appreciate you taking pity on the cell phone podcast and coming on here, man.
Dude. I love it. And I want to remind everybody, this year, 2024, is the 20-year anniversary of our second record, Palm Trees and Power Lines, which is the one that has the song Memory on it, which was one of our bigger songs. And we, that's my dog. We still have it's complicated. We, a lot of our fans are like, oh man, will you do a vinyl release of it or whatever? We have like complicated shit with our old record company that I'm not going to bore anybody with, but there's reasons why we can't necessarily re-release it. But it's out there on, you can watch our videos on the internet. You can stream our songs on, Tidal and Apple Music and Spotify and all that bullshit. So, just do me a favor and go, if you haven't listened to Sugarcult in a while, go back and listen to that record, not just the song Memory, but go listen to that record. We're really proud of that record. It was like we made 3 studio records, Start Static, Palm Trees and Power Lines, and then another one called Lights Out that came a few years later. But this year it's all about Palm Trees and Power Lines. So I'm trying to remind myself to 20 years. It's fucking wow. It's crazy. And I'm telling you kids, 20 years goes by quick, man. So I feel like we were just making that record yesterday. And it's still, I kind of like when you go back and listen to your old stuff, you have that weird thing where it's like, you kind of hold your breath and you're like, oh my God, is this gonna hold up? And it's kind of this suspense. And then you put it on and it's held up, which is fucking amazing. I'm so stoked. I'm proud of that record. I'm proud of all of our records, but I'm like, that record really, it's a good record. And I'm not even, I can't even remember what I played on it now. I can listen to it just the same way anybody can listen to it. I can listen to it as a fan. And I'm like, hey, this is a cool record. So go back and listen to Sugarcult, Palm Trees and Power Lines to celebrate the 20-year anniversary. If you see me come through your town for a DJ gig or whatever, come hang out with me. If you want to hit me up on Instagram, you throw my Instagram in the chat or whatever. It's just Marko DeSantis, whatever, on Instagram. And, I think that's pretty much about it. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Like I'm in St. Louis. So we're in a nostalgic market too. They still play your band on radio out here, man. Like, so, like something that does hold up is my argument. That's why I brought that up. But yeah, thank you for like the 600 people watching this right now. That's crazy.
Dude,
Rumble was new tonight. So there's like almost 500 people watching on Rumble tonight. That's unheard of. Usually it's 12. So if you're watching on Rumble right now, thank you very much. If you're watching on anything else, obviously thank you too. Thank you to Marko. Thank you to Nikki. Without Marko, without Nikki, without the people watching this, without sponsors, it would be delusional. It'd be a guy sitting in his bus talking.
I brought you guys flowers to everyone on Rumble.
I can't believe, dude, Rumble usually has 12 people watching. Right now it's like 456 people right now watching.
I think it's because they saw that my name was Marko DeSantis, and they're like, "Wait, you mean DeSantis? Like maybe he's like." Hey, you know what? I was DeSantis before that motherfucker, so I get to be the guy who's DeSantis. He can
works out, man. We're blessed. We're blessed to be doing what we do, man. So it's like,
but yeah, so fuck yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, like I said, you guys find me on Instagram if you want. And I don't know. Fucking yeah. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Great talking.
All right.
You're welcome back anytime, man. I appreciate it.
See ya.
And thank you all for watching. That guy's an absolute legend. Sugarcult's great. Like you said, Google it. I appreciate everyone watching this. I know it's a Tuesday night. I mean, it's like 9:40 where I'm from, and people are still watching. So thank you very much for spending your time watching this show, making my dreams happen, making, it's an honor to be able to mumble in front of you, and it's an honor to be able to talk to absolute legends like Marko DeSantis from Sugarcult. Have a great night, and I hope each and every one of your dreams come true too. Just keep dreaming, keep working, do it all, Bam.